I once lived carefree of life's difficulties, and for a while, I even forgot about my difficult past being that of living in welfare with my family. And today, I thank heaven for every day that I wake up without worries. The worry of my responsibilities has been hanging over my face every day for over 3 years now. How did I get here? And what is the purpose, God? This is my story. If you're wondering what happened, please refer to episode 1. Also, if you are a Christian and it feels like you've been walking faithfully, following the commands and laws of God, but you feel that your blessings are taking long and that you're struggling in the season that you are right now, well, this is your space. Through sweat and tears, our lives had started turning around after almost 4 years for my family and I. We still didn't have much, but we had more than before. Owning and wearing original brands was now partially a possibility. No more Zuma instead of Puma. No more Phoebe. We wore Fubu, y'all. At the age of 15, as soon as I was able to work, my sister and I and few of our friends got the permission of our parents to go out, take public transportation by ourselves, of course to go working. But this was the beginning of freedom and independency. Well, not quite independency. We were still under the rules and regulation and supervisions of our household. But this didn't matter, because for the first time in our lives, we will get pocket money to buy whatever we wanted. Do you guys understand what it means for a teenager or anybody for that matter who never had? Freedom. This is how I grew up, with the desire, the motivation to make enough and better my loved one's life and of course myself. My mom and dad will never have to worry about taking care of me again. I was removing myself as one of their responsibilities. Fast forward, with the money I made from my weekend job, I was able to get myself through college and university with no debt. Here I was, making my parents proud. I had graduated as a nurse, and now I could start working, build my life, and help the family as well. The baby Lion King had become a lioness, meaning a hunter, but in humans' characteristic, we'll say a hustler, a nurturer, a team player. Life for once, y'all, felt sweet. Maybe it was the residue, the remains of not always having had things in my childhood, but once have had, my motto was to never deprive myself of the pleasure of life and never have regrets. Of course, all of it was done in moderation, and I was not out there simply splurging like a nonsensical girl, but I knew that tomorrows belonged to God and today's to mankind. So, I've enjoyed His blessings while and as long as I could. Now, was I always a believer, a Christian? When did I get introduced to faith, to Elohim, my God and Father in heaven? Well, unlike Samuel, John the Baptist, and Samson from the Bible, I don't have God's confirmation that I was consecrated to Him from birth, but I like to believe that before He formed me in the womb, He knew me. Before I was born, He set me apart, and that He appointed me as one of His servants, messengers, somebody to the nations. Why do I believe so? When I was maybe around 3 to 4 years old, I got baptized. Yep, I know. I can hear many people push back saying that it does not count because I was not fully aware of the implications and the importance of baptism. But to that, I say, you are wrong. I remember clearly the little me asking my dad what it meant to be baptized. I asked because of the commotion and excitement I felt from everyone surrounding this moment around the house. This thing I was going to experience seemed so important. So I asked my father what it meant. And a little over 3 decades ago, I still feel and remember these strong emotions of pride and assurance my dad had when, in a simplified version for the kid that I was, he got to my level and said, "From now on, your behavior will have to change, and you have now to behave in goodness like God. You have to become a good person. No lies, no anger, no wickedness. You have to do everything to reflect God's character." Of course, these aren't his exact words, but that is the essence of his message to me that I remember. You want to hear a funny thing? Years later, he didn't even remember my younger sister and I being baptized, but thanks to my mother's memory, she confirmed this memorable chapter of my life. So yes, the seed of the fear of God had been planted from the age of 3 to 4 years old. We were not then a praying family the way we are today. But my dad, with the little knowledge he had from his readings and curiosity of the Word of God, gave us the most beautiful heritage a man can leave his children with, that of the fear and knowledge of God. How then, 3 decades later, soaked in the knowledge of God from youth, I avoid pick-up phone calls with formal numbers out of fear that it could be the bank or any other institution wondering about my commitment financial status. Is this all you're doing, God? Are these the plans and promises you have and had for me, O Father? Plans to prosper me and not to harm me? Plans to give me hope and a future? Friends, walking with God isn't for the faint of heart, I tell you, nor for undecided ones, that's for sure. But this is my testimony, live as I am going through trials and hardships to be refined, purified, and strengthened in the furnace, and you get to live it with me. This is the transformation process of a young Christian woman in the furnace. If this is God removing impurities like pride, self-reliance, self-assurance, or assurance in everything considered and called stability in this world, well, just like little Samuel in the Bible, let me answer, here I am. I see you in the next episode.